Thank you, thank you. Hey, let's hear it for Dr. Nick and Ben, man, right? And I'm going to just jump right into some of the, the concepts and principles that came up, but also give yourselves a round of applause. And just, I'm back there, and I think I need processing from my staff because we did this. How many people were with us at the breakthrough event, right? And we had maybe 3 weeks of marketing. And it was sort of, last minute stuff. Ben wanted all kinds of attention because he had some type of injury, right? So he wasn't able to focus on the event. And so we didn't know what was going to show up. And, we had about 30 people registered, in advance. But we came Friday night, we had like close to 70 people show up for this thing. And I was like, wow, we must be really connecting. People are hungry for this, right? And we had almost twice the marketing time for this one. And we had all kinds of social media and you name it, we did it. And just sort of notice the turnout, right? And I'm just gonna tee it up because I really want your feedback and have this conversation tomorrow because I want to know the difference between you all and everybody else who heard the word and had something better to do than become prosperous and abundant like our Father God. Did you follow? Again, I'm sort of taken out right now because I thought I'm preparing the staff. I'm like, get ready for floodgates. Everybody will show up. And so anyways, I just had to get that off my chest because but we can talk tomorrow, right? So tell me, because most people already heard me, so I'm not going to get a whole lot of background, but tell me what's showing up for you right now. I mean, we had some powerful stuff, and I love always coming after Nick, because I really don't have to teach much. I mean, he's like, whoa, and I just pick stuff and we kick it around. But what's coming up for you right now? What are you hearing? What are you seeing? Any breakthroughs? Any ahas? Love to hear where you guys are at with everything. And if we get the mic, great. If not, just sort of yell it out. Notices, shares, what's coming up for you? You're the one we're sending. You're the one that's blocking. You're the one that's in the way. Got it. How many gets that one? If that's true, right? If this whole abundance and wealth and prosperity thing is nothing more than getting over yourself, how cool would that be? Right? You don't have to go after it. You don't have to pursue it. You don't have to work for all this stuff. It's like there's something in me that I just need to flip that switch. How cool is that? And that's true. Just because you're here, I mean, we're committed to flipping that switch for y'all. And everybody, different things. What else? Excellent. Thank you. What else? What else is coming up for you? What are you noticing? Yes. Yes.
Just like gravity, you let something go, it's going to hit the ground. It's sort of that same kind of thing going on here. Like for me, personally, God, the concept of who he is enlarging. He has this grand design, and it's unfortunate. Well, thank God for this house here and you guys, right? But it's unfortunate not more people take advantage of that, and that it's not a reality for other individuals. So there's an enlargement of who God is, but there's also a recognition of these laws, of these things that you can put in motion.
That's huge. So I'm hearing two things. For you right now, you're experiencing an enlargement and expansion of who God is in this whole abundance thing. Is that right now in this moment? Yeah, right on. And the other thing he said is this idea of principles. And you're absolutely right. I mean, you took the words right out of my mouth. Prosperity, it's not just one principle and you do it, right? It's not like the tithe. How many people tithe and had absolutely nothing work or change in their life? And that's okay. That's honest. I've been there. So obviously, just doing that thing, paying your tithe, may not change it because it's just one component. Right? And so, yeah, absolutely, multiple principles. And the thing, what we're going to do this weekend, we're going to make it really personal, because the principle that you need is what I want you to put an expectation around. because your principle for your breakthrough is going to be different from yours, right? We all have, and it's again, exact gravity, electricity, nuclear power. Does God have a lot of principles? Yeah. Right? And so they're all tools for us to use. And this weekend specifically, we're looking at the principles of prosperity. And we have a short time together, so Nick and I are just sort of working around saying, okay, what areas are most people dealing with? If we can hit a lot of people, what are some of those main principles? And that's what we're going to look at. How's that sound? So principles are cool, because this is also something when I was learning the importance going through chiropractic school, the idea of principles was really pounded into me, because they said, don't think you're all that just because you have a doctor's degree. You're not doing anything. You have absolutely nothing to do with healing the human body. The principle does, right? There's an innate intelligence that controls healing and repair and regeneration. Your job is to learn it and how to facilitate it in people's bodies. It's the principle that does the work, not you, not your intelligence, not your technique. And that really spoke to me. So when I graduated $80,000 in debt, it's just like, maybe I should look at wealth principles to do this instead of, all the marketing. Do you follow? That's exactly what I did. I spent how many years learning healing principles and applied the same aspects to wealth principles. And built one of the largest chiropractic practices in the country, top 1%, millions of dollars. And now it's just a matter of keep applying those principles in my other businesses. It's the principle doing the work, not me. And it's for everybody. How's that sound? How's that make you feel that you don't have to do nothing other than learn and apply the right principle for you? Do you follow? Yeah, high five. Air high five. What else? What else are you getting?
Well, just even with kind of on that, the idea of that what God calls you to, he'll like the vision, he has the provision and it's already there. We've always worked ourselves to exhaustion to make the money first. Like, oh, well, we're going to work our butts off, and then once we finally have the money, then we're going to fund the mission. Then we're going to do all these things.
Right.
And so just realizing, like, oh my gosh, it doesn't have to be exhausting. Like, I mean, you have to work. I understand. I'm not saying you're not going to put effort in, but that's God's. I guess, like, even just that like Nick said, the shalom will come with it. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's just, you don't have to, like, work like a dog,
Yeah.
God actually, it's already there.
Right.
We just have to believe it.
And how does that make you feel?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Right? And isn't that cool?
Oh my gosh, all these cool things we've always wanted to do, we actually can do. We don't have to wait.
And that's also a principle that hopefully you'll be discovering for yourself. What gets you really excited about your money? What gets you like so motivated and pumped about prosperity and abundance? Does everybody have to have the exact same motivation? No. But you all have access to that principle. And when you get connected to your excitement, this dopamine thing that Nick was talking about, that's a major signal to your nervous system, to your flesh, to the cells and tissues of your body, say you're on the right track. Keep pursuing that, right? So that's what we're after. What else? Anything else? Yes, go.
In regards to that, though, too, I had heard a sermon a while ago about God did not place Adam into the garden until everything was already set for him. And so it was like what she was saying, the provision is already there. And just to realize that God provided everything before we were here. And he's written our books even before we were born. And so it's already done. So for me, it's been, okay, God, let me just know your assurance that it's already done. And I just need to just walk with you and listen and just reap the benefits of what you have for me, for my life, to bring you glory and honor in all the things that I do. And the other thing is, like, when Dr. Nick was talking about the fact that God gives us the gifts and talents, basically, and stuff like that. And that before I was like, oh, but, I can't take money, or, oh, I shouldn't do that or this and that. And again, it's about provision. It's just another avenue that God uses to be able to provide for us so that we can be blessings unto others instead of being, oh yeah, I got to be humble. I just can't, I got to reject that. And it's like, we can't reject what God did on the cross like he was explaining. I was like, oh, Lord, forgive me. Please forgive me for having that mentality and walking that way all of my life.
Great notice. Yeah, excellent. So when when your focus is, I shouldn't do this and I shouldn't do that, who's the focus on? Yeah. And here's the thing. It's okay because that's the job of your nervous system. So Nick teed it up. We're going to be kicking this around and knowing that, we're going to talk about some of the different states of consciousness and this this duality that both, and it's really cool. Know that you're so in the right place, because I didn't talk to Ben and I really didn't talk to Nick. But do you see how they said pretty much the exact same thing in some different words, different ways? And I'm going to do the exact same thing. I'm not really going to say anything different than what they just said. But the key is that if you hear it, because it's really a simple principle. You pray, believe that you will receive it, and what? Wow. You mean I don't have to work? I don't have to have 5 drivers, right? All I have to do is this belief thing? That's the principle, right? But as Nick said, how's it working out for you? So we're gonna kick this around a little bit, but I want to sort of set the stage, because it's important in these training environments that we create what's called context. We all sort of get on the same page. So when we do our different exercises and shares and things going on, you're going to interact with people, and that's how a lot of learning and this experiential thing takes place. But to be on the same page and have the same language is important, okay? So what I want to start with is how do you define wealth? If that's what we're here working on this week, and how do you guys define it? Anyone? Financial freedom. Excellent. What else? Security. Beautiful. What else? Is that like freedom too? do what you want when you want. Is that what I'm hearing? Yep. Do you want? Bills paid. Nice. What else? Pour into others. Do you see how this wealth thing can have a lot of different meanings, right? So it's a concept, it's an idea. I'm going to sort of propose one that we're going to play with, and that this idea that already, Nick and Ben brought up this Deuteronomy 8:18 thing. You already what? Say it. Have it, right? Isn't that what it says? It says, if we can trust God, he says, I have given you. Past tense, you already have it, this ability to produce wealth. Yes? Yeah. How's that showing up for you? Is it working to its fullest potential? And for many reasons, but let's say if we define this wealth thing as that. Think of it like a tree, right? Your apple tree, Ben talked a little bit about this. The apple tree, right, produces an apple. That's pretty cool. Does anybody really understand how that happens? Right? This miracle of producing an apple. Nick probably does. But we don't have 5 hours to... But which one is the miracle? The apple, the fruit, right? Or the inner workings of the tree that produce the fruit? Do you follow? Yeah. I used this the other night at the service. I talked about the goose that laid the golden egg, and we had the translator, and there's no word for goose in Spanish, right? So we said the golden pollo, I think we said. All right, use a chicken. Either way, it's laying an egg. So what I'm getting at is, so if this is true, right? What is the magic? What's the cool thing? If it exists, would you just want that golden egg or the goose? Right? And so here's the cool thing. You already got that. Wealth is the inner workings that you all have that God has given you to produce the apple, the egg, the car, the house, the abundance that we've been talking about. Can we agree that that's sort of the definition that we're working on this weekend? That you already have it. How does that feel? Just that thought that I have within me these magical, mysterious inner workings to produce fruit in the form of abundance and money, prosperity. I already have it. How does that feel? Anybody feel bad about that? Excellent. So if we have somebody that's honest, she feels bad, and that's okay. And that's really the main check, is what shows up for you when we talk about these principles and concepts and ideas, because then we can work with them. But we have, so we're going to play with this. We have this inner working. It's there. It's present. Oh, but I'm struggling financially. And boy, I'm really stressed about paying the bills. My results don't reflect these so-called inner workings of prosperity that I supposedly have, right? Is that not the sort of where we're at? And so what I found is that there's a couple of things that influence and determine the ability or functionality of these inner workings. One of it is it's learned. Think, how many know how to drive a car? Right. And so you have a way that you get in your car and drive your car. How many, you go to work, right? And how many people actually think, now I got to make a left-hand turn? Or there's 50 things going on and you get to work somehow and never once thought about, right? You follow? So do you have sort of this inner workings of driving the car? And so now there's a brand new Ferrari sitting out front. No, I had the Ferrari, bought the Bentley. So, and we're all gonna, drive this Ferrari around. Is it a pretty a high performance vehicle, right? And it has this amazing potential to go fast and do all this stuff, right? And as soon as you get in that car, you're going to drive it to its maximum capacity. No. What are you going to do? You're going to pull somebody said a Volkswagen earlier. You're going to pull all your learned response from driving your Volkswagen into that brand new Ferrari. And that Ferrari is going to only function to the ability of the driver, yes? So quit getting a new job, quit trying to, get new careers, do all this stuff outside, because you're bringing all that money baggage and what you've learned into that new thing. Oh, and you do that with your marriage and the kids and everything else. As soon as you think it's this thing that's going to make the difference, you're out of the game. Satan says, yes, they're no good. They don't have a chance. So inner workings are influenced, and again, think of your inner workings like that Ferrari. I mean, your inner workings are perfect. God didn't create you and say, I'm going to give them inner workings to produce prosperity, and I'm going to, leave out a few pieces. Did he do that to anybody? Right? Or are you a complete work? So we have confidence that these inner workings are perfect. Oh, but Dr. Matt, where's the disconnect? I'm still struggling financially, living paycheck to paycheck. I just got fired. What? Maybe you haven't learned how to fully use those inner workings. But the bigger one, and we're going to be working on this all morning, tomorrow morning, is sometimes there's a little virus that gets in the matrix. sometimes things penetrate into the inner workings that start to suppress them, start to nullify their ability to function at its optimal potential. And that's what we're going to be working on. Because we're moving that, hey, wealth, we already have it. We have this inner working, but based on results, man, I've influenced it incorrectly because I haven't been really trained on how to use these things, or man, they're offline, and I got to get them back on. Are you open to that? Yeah. Right? That's what we're going to be looking at. So let's sort of throw up the PowerPoint if you would, Joel. And Nick, do you have the little thing? Yeah, I'm going to need it. I'd be needing it. Thank you. So let's sort of, go through this pretty quick and we'll see what we got. So 4 aspects of what I call the prosperity principle. We're going to focus on that. There's a bunch of principles. We're going to look at prosperity. And there's 4 aspects: mindset, heart set, gut set, skill set. Mindset deals with, and this is, we got into this a little bit at the breakthrough event. If you were here, it's sort of review. But y'all know we're a 3-part being, yes? Body, soul, spirit. This soul thing has 2 parts. It has a conscious mind. I call it surface conscious. It's the prefrontal cortex. That's the part you're listening right now to. That's the part that is logical, rational, sort of makes decisions. And so this part has what we call thoughts, attitudes, and agreements about money. Okay? And we'll come back to it. I just want to give you all the parts first. The other part's the heart set. This is the other part of the soul. So 2 parts of the soul, front and back, conscious, subconscious. And here we're dealing with the beliefs, convictions, and emotions about money. And again, Ben and Nick both teed this up, this whole idea of, yes, I heard that scriptural verse. I agree with that scriptural verse, that what Jesus did on the cross, everything he did bought my prosperity. Yes, thank you, Lord. But it's not showing up. Because there's something different within this other part of our soul at the level of the subconscious that essentially resists. And it's absolutely a safety mechanism. We'll be talking about that. But we're going to go through just a little process to help maybe diffuse that a bit. Let's keep looking at these. Gut set. So I'm not going to get into this too much. It's a part of it. This is the 3rd level of consciousness. This is what I call it your spirit or super consciousness. It resides outside of the body. It can come in and come out. It's the part that goes and stays eternally once this part goes. And so this is that gut set. This is that intuition about money. This is when you hear an opportunity or someone starts talking about a business and you start getting goosebumps on your arms. When you get goosebumps, that's your superconscious. That's your spirit saying, listen, because this is alignment with who you are. It's alignment with your inner workings of prosperity, your purpose, everything else. And so this part, we can spend a whole week really learning and developing that. It's a really important part because the superconscious, your spirit, knows exactly what your inner workings are. It knows exactly what is interfering with them. It knows exactly what to do to remove interference, get them back online and working. So you already know at some level of your consciousness exactly where this disconnect is that we've been talking about. Okay? This isn't the Holy Spirit. Your spirit works with the Holy Spirit to reveal this stuff to you. And we're going to do an exercise tomorrow morning to connect your spirit with the Holy Spirit to help reveal where's that obstruction? Why did my subconscious accept this lie about my inner prosperity workings? How's that sound? All right. So the last part is the skill set. Again, now we're back to the real world, looking at your habits, behaviors. And this is the proper application of wealth building. You can learn the principle, be aware of the principle, but not apply it properly, right? You may really like electricity. You love electricity, all electricity can do, but if you wire your house wrong, it ain't working for you. So it's not just a matter of learning and knowing, it's a matter of applying them properly. Are you following? So we're going to go back, because the whole focus of our time together is really, looking at this idea of the soul, right? Nick mentioned it. Beloved, I pray that you would prosper, be in excellent health, that your inner prosperity workings would be fully functional according to your what? Your soul. And we just said your soul has two parts. And I got a couple of downloads in preparing for this event, because, I wanted to bring something new to the table. And what I feel also addresses a lot of where people sometimes get stuck. And this came to me, and it was just this idea of a belief. How do you define a belief? What is true? What else? You do what you believe. Do you see how it has a little weird, right? It's just like wealth. It's like, okay, but it seems to be really important, because everybody's talking about this belief thing, that you better believe, and right? Is it an important concept? All right, so the challenge becomes is, again, we can't even define it. So if we define wealth as your inner workings, we're going to define belief in a couple of ways. And it's a little tricky in that the Bible, for me anyways, Nick may know more because he's that nerd dude. We're going to look at what I call a head belief, because let's keep the word for now, and a heart belief. And if we define these things in sort of using a different word, because if I say, what do you believe, what are you going to tell me? Jesus is Lord. Do you believe that in your heart? How do you know? How do you know your subconscious has accepted that idea? Are you following me? I don't doubt you. I'm just saying, it's just like, how does your liver know you've accepted Jesus? Right? Do you follow? Your subconscious is an organ. But yet, the Bible says, believe in your heart. Believe in your kidney. Believe in your stomach that Jesus is Lord. Right? So if we look at belief, we want to be able to are we talking about this part or the back part? So I'm going to sort of redefine this and reference a head belief as what I call your position. So now when we talk about a head belief, we're going to refer to it as your position, which is basically something you have come into agreement with. Your conscious, logical, analytical brain said, yes, I heard that. Yes, I understand it. And I agree with that. I'm in alignment with that. How many people aren't in alignment with what Nick had talked about, that Jesus is rich? Oh, no way. Right off the bat, they're not on the team. Because they haven't even accepted this principle that Jesus, reflection of our abundant God, represented and expressed the fullness of prosperity and abundance while he is here. But if you don't agree with that, you're done. You're not even on the team. And so the first part of what we're looking at this weekend is what are you aligning with? What have you positioned yourself with? And we can say it's a belief, but that's confusing. Because when you say you believe something, I don't know if you're talking through your head or your heart. Are you following? So if we're going to be effective in this soul thing, if our abundance and prosperity is based on the prosperity of my soul, then I better know what I'm thinking, what I'm positioning with, and what I'm persuaded by. So we have a position and a persuasion. Because now, right? So look at the definition. Position, the predominant or prevailing tendency of one's spirit, natural, mental, emotional outlook or mood, attitude regarding something. That's a position, right? What's your attitude about God's prosperity principles? What's your attitude? What's your positioning towards his healing principles? Are you following? What do I agree with? What do I understand? What can I say yes to or no to, or give me more information? I'm establishing my position. Am I on the team or not? Oh, but we know that you could agree and you align and accept, but what? It ain't happening. It's not producing. Why? Because at a deeper level, I'm persuaded towards something else. Persuasion. The state or fact of being persuaded or convinced, a deep conviction or belief. Okay? So we have two things going on that you already know. A position that you decide upon, but a persuasion that really makes the difference. The persuasion, just agreeing and getting alignment, gets you on the team. But until you're fully persuaded, you're sitting on the bench, watching everybody else play the game, making the touchdowns and winning. So that ultimately is what we're looking at. We're all on the same team if we're in alignment, but not all of us are playing. So in order to really begin to work with this, we have to make that separation between I agree, but I'm not persuaded. And just in that space, right? Because the work that I do is so much based on your energetic state. That's why I asked you, how does that feel? What's showing up? And so many people are taken out. So many Christians are so much pain because of this thing. I believe, Lord. I pray and I accept, but what's happening? Right? They're not producing the result that they agreed to. And how do they feel about that? Terrible. Why would you want to associate terrible energy to money or prosperity or anything else you want? Are you following? So just the fact that you're in a state of confusion and bewilderment and stressed about head and heart and conscience, you're done. You're going to stay on that bench. I don't care how bad you want to play. You're wrapped up in this negative energy of confusion, stress. What did I do wrong? Why isn't it working? Why aren't you hearing me? And the Lord's like, you're not fully persuaded, dude. That's the principle. Are you following? So here's the shift that I want you just to connect with. Just think about it if it's really hard for you to go there. But how would it feel to diffuse all that negative energy just by acknowledging that? How would that make you feel? Man, I pray, I agree, I'm excited, but it's not working? Fair enough. Okay, I guess I'm not persuaded at a deeper level of my consciousness. Okay, well, what do I got to do to, do you follow? Yeah. How do you like that energy versus, are you following me? That right there will begin to create a shift. Nick talked about how the brain begins to form new neural pathways. And just that thought, just this conversation we're having about diffusing all this negative energy about, I say yes, but. Now it's an opportunity. Now it's like, okay, apparently there's something in this deeper level of consciousness that is really, and Nick said it too, and it has nothing to do with sabotage or limiting. There's no organ in the human body that's trying to limit or sabotage you, especially your brain, especially your thoughts, especially your belief systems, especially your habits. You think, you feel, you behave, and function according to a safety mechanism, period. If you're overwhelmed and you have to drink alcohol, it's because your nervous system thinks if you don't have alcohol, you'll die. If you're motivated and addicted to drugs or food, it's because your nervous system, your flesh thinks if you don't have that, you'll die. Don't get upset with it. Help it. Every thought that you don't like, every emotion you don't like, everything that exists for a purpose. And the unpleasant ones, the ones that don't feel so good, that are not so pleasurable, those are the ones that are trying to get your attention, especially around money. Are you following? So, and this is, again, and I'm working with this. So, again, head belief, it's a possibility. This is potential energy. I accept this prosperity principle. I accept this principle of abundance. It has potential in my life to produce, but that's all it is because it's still just a thought. It's not until I'm fully persuaded at the level of the subconscious that it becomes kinetic energy and produces the result. Right? So potential and kinetic energy, Einstein is all, appreciates that. So here's my example. Matthew 21:22. If you believe, you will receive whatever you ask for in prayer. What part of the consciousness is that one talking about? Head or heart? Heart. You all know that. And here's the word. It's called pisteio something, right, in Greeks. To have faith in, commit to, put trust in. Have faith, commit, and I trust. Head or heart? Head or heart? Okay. Stay with it. Right. Okay, so then Mark 9:42. Immediately the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief. But here's the tricky part. So when I was researching this, it's the exact same word. So it's obvious that these two scriptures, one's talking about position, head agreement, and the other one's talking about persuasion, a heart agreement, but it's the exact same word in the Bible, this pistio thing. So even the Bible isn't really clear. It uses the same word, so no wonder, I'm going to say, this is my perception, the church is a little confused. When they say belief, is it head or heart? You don't even know. You're saying, I believe in prosperity. All you're really saying is, I accept that. Because until you produce a result, you don't believe it. It's both. It's both, yes. So the only place that I found that actually talked about heart belief, Romans 4:21, Abraham, right, being fully persuaded that God had power to do what he had promised. Being fully persuaded. Here's the word. Pleirophorio. Listen different. Completely convinced, fully know, inward certainty. Is that different from, I put my faith in, I trust in? How often do you hear people, Christians, the church, using trust and faith and believe, and they're not talking about any type of persuasion at the level of their subconscious? And then they get all frustrated because well, they think just by agreeing, by acknowledging and saying, right, it's going to show up. Meanwhile, there's a whole different level of consciousness that's running the ship. We know this, neuroscience. 85% of everything you think, say, and do throughout your day is governed at the level of persuasion, not position. That's why you don't have what you want. That's why I don't really care your goals and dreams. Nick does. If I'm really going to help you, I'm only interested in what you're fully persuaded by, right? And how you sort of know this is by your results, right? So let's do this. Clean sheet of paper and leave like a little margin off to the left side. And what I want you to do is write down basically your current financial reality. Begin to write down your income, your savings, your investments. What's going on right now with your finances? Joelle, the current financial reality writing music, please. What is it? Yeah, just look at your results. Look at what's showing up right now with your money. It picks up. Whatever it is, yeah, if you need paper, raise your hand. The staff will get on. Just leave a little margin on that left side of your paper. Current financial reality. How much you make. How much you saving. What's your net worth. What are your investment income. You work for others. You're self-employed. You're a business owner. How many streams of income do you have? What types of streams? Passive, residual. What's showing up right now with your reality? Take an inventory. Okay, now in that column, that margin to the left, write, I believe. I believe. And if our conversation and our words resonate with you, then I'm fully persuaded that. I am fully persuaded that I'm to live paycheck to paycheck. I am fully persuaded that I was to be fired. I am fully persuaded that I have nothing in savings. Current financial reality. I am fully persuaded. I am convinced . If this principle is true, you cannot produce anything in the physical, tangible universe without first having a belief at the level of your subconscious. Then it will be impossible to produce what you've just written down. And now take a minute and share this to the person next to you. Notice what shows up. How do you feel about your current financial reality as a result of what you believe? Go. Partner up. Talk to somebody next to you. You can keep the same music. Who wants to talk to Nick? Who wants to partner share with Nick? Raise your hand if you don't have a partner. When we look at our results, we learn what we believe. Check your alignment between what you believe, what you're fully persuaded by, and what you have said you accept or agree to. We call this the gap. How big of gap is there between head and heart? How much potential resistance based on your results exists on your inner workings of wealth? All right, excellent. Thank you, partners, for sharing and being open for this very fun and pleasant exercise. So who would like to share what just showed up? What's coming up for you? Go.
Mine was, I believe everything deserves to be stalled.
Say again.
I believe I am fully persuaded that everything needs to be stalled, paused, on hold.
Got it. Excellent. Great notice. Are you open to work with this a little? Yeah. You did great last time. So how does that make you feel?
Sucks.
Sucks. How sucky.
Oh, dude, I prepared myself for you asking me this. I was like, really? I wanted to get into an accident. I wanted to lose financial peace. Like, I deep down wanted this, really? And I don't know.
So just stay with that, right? So did your subconscious want to harm you?
I think it wanted to protect me.
How so?
I don't know.
Yeah. But just feel that energy, right? Really? There's a part of me that caused this?
Yeah.
How does that feel?
I can't believe it.
Yeah, great. Right? So would we just say there's a big gap? So all of you were checking the gap, the distance between what you said versus what you believe, right? And the further apart, the more energy.
Yeah.
But energy, we can use energy, right? So where did it come from? Where did your subconscious learn that this is how it's supposed to show up for you?
I don't know, playing it safe.
Stay with the sucky. The feelings, the emotions.
This is what you got last time.
You did great last time. Stay with this idea of these experiences that are sucky are nothing more than an echo from an earlier event. What's the earlier event? Where did your nervous system learn to feel and accept this idea to create that result? Stay with the emotion.
When things don't turn out the way.
Stay with the emotion and the memory. I remember what showed up with you last time.
Then tell me. I told you that last time.
Yeah, no, the incident, the experience, the childhood.
Yeah, the trauma.
Yes.
You want me to share it?
You don't have to share it,
Okay.
but let's stay connected with what did your nervous system learn from that experience. That is so important, it has to keep reminding you of it.
You're in control. You got to protect yourself.
How much energy with control?
It's a lot.
Did you just feel that? This.
Not as much as before.
Okay. Yeah, but it's there, yes?
Yeah.
And so just play with that energy of control. Is control important?
Yeah, it's safe.
And when you're in an accident, how much control are you in?
None.
How good of job did your subconscious do in helping you feel out of control?
A great job.
Great job. Thank you, subconscious. Are you seeing it? Okay. So stay with control. What would your subconscious love to know about control?
I don't need to be in control.
How does that feel, not being in control?
Feels a little weird. A little out of control.
So is control a bad thing?
They can be.
Exactly. Because there was a point where your nervous system said, out of control is not good. It feels really bad. And those two have gotten really close.
Yeah.
The problem is it's like a quarter, right? Negative energy is around the entire quarter. Heads and tails. Heads are great. Tails not so much. Your entire control quarter has been contaminated by this energy.
Yeah.
Are you following?
Yeah.
So to your nervous system, the nervous system works really simple. It either avoids pain or pursues pleasure. And so it says, let's just stay the heck away out of this control thing. Good or bad, in or out. Are you following?
Yeah.
Oh, but just the fact that this idea of control is showing up, and you just said it, is it important? Yes. And that's the whole key. To you it is. Because it's part of your inner workings. Yes? So tell me how we can free your inner workings around the negative aspect of control and empower and heighten what being in control would look like financially.
In my personal opinion?
What does your heart need to hear? Control isn't going away.
Yeah, no, I gotta give it to God. It's not about me.
When you give it to God, what did you just do? That's your coping mechanism. That's, again, your nervous system wants to give it away. To regain the power. This is a gift. Your inner workings are a gift, and they need control to be effective. So your nervous system has to learn that control is a good thing.
Oh, I see.
Yes?
Okay.
So what can you tell your heart right now? What does having control of your finances look like? What would that look like?
Okay to have control of my future? Is that
Specifically around this money thing.
it's okay to be extremely wealthy?
And what would that mean?
To be able to bless everyone that I wanted to and not affect myself.
If you were in control of your finances, really stepped in and had structure and guidance and right around your finances that allowed them to grow and be productive and assist with other people, how would that make you feel?
Great.
Grade 1, 2, grade 9, 10.
Grade 9, 10.
Okay, that's all your heart needs right now, right? It needs a new feeling and new perception of control. How do you feel?
Good.
Give a round of applause. Who else? What's showing up for you?
Here,
Yes, go.
not being able to have investments, not knowing which way to go in that,
You're fully persuaded that you're not supposed to have investments.
right?
Great notice.
Yeah.
How does that feel?
It feels good to recognize that, but I know it's because of feeling inadequate and feeling rejected and abandoned, and it's kind of a perversion because I see that I'm more comfortable in being miserable and in lack than I am because of the responsibility of knowing the accountability with God and others around me to be able to move forward and to be where He wants me to be.
Great notice. So, are you open to work with this a little bit?
Okay.
It's like, get
Be
the money,
gentle.
man. So you gave me a literal smorgasbord of emotions there. So which one's showing up? You mentioned rejection, abandonment. What really?
Being
Inadequate. Where do you
yeah.
feel that in your body?
Oh, in the core of my stomach.
Got it.
It comes out through my jaw, my shoulders, my back.
Excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
And why is that excellent? What does that tell us to have those feelings and emotions? Did you intellectually, logically decide to feel like that?
No.
No.
It was emotional trauma from when I was little.
Excellent. And so we're talking about a heart belief,
Right.
which is exactly where we want to be,
Right.
right?
Right.
We don't even care about your investments anymore.
Right. Exactly.
And actually, we don't even really care what happened in your childhood trauma.
Right.
What we do care about is what your subconscious said it meant about you. And how do you answer that question?
Well, it's a lie from the enemy, but the fact is that I have lived my whole life like that.
How? What does it mean? Because this happened to you, it must mean what about you?
It must mean that I'm true, that it's true, that I'm broken beyond belief, that I believe God can do all things except through me for some reason.
How much energy with your broken?
It's massive. It's beyond
Got
scale.
it. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Do you feel it too?
No, but the energy came and went.
Yeah, nice. So I want you to feel the difference between, you said inadequate versus broken. Which one has more energy, more meat?
Probably being the broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And broken people aren't supposed to have investments, right?
Right.
Yeah. So how good has your heart belief produced a result to reflect what it thinks about you?
Well, it's caused me to not work since 2010 because I've been mentally and emotionally and physically unstable to do that.
Excellent. So would we say it's doing a good job?
An excellent job.
Excellent job.
Yeah, I always say that Satan doesn't even need to come around with his dominions and stuff like that because I do a great job on my own for destroying myself.
And we all do, right? So the only time we actually give him any in or any potential power or influence on us is when we speak it.
Right.
Now, in this room, you can speak it because we want to expose it and remove it. So let's stay with the broken. What's the opposite of broken?
Healed. Shalom.
Yeah, and you've been saying that all night, haven't you?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
Yeah.
I believe as we speak it and we
As who
bless
speaks it?
As I speak it and I bless others, God is such a good God that he blesses us back as well with that shalom and blessing.
Yes, in your head, what does your heart need to hear about this idea of brokenness? And I want you to see the quarter
Right.
of brokenness. On one side, we have broken. What's on the other side?
The other side, we have shalom.
I need more. I'm your subconscious. I need details of the other side of broken.
The healing.
What
the
else?
The restoration and deliverance, the truth, the wisdom.
Are you feeling any of that? Because I'm not.
I am because I've seen my life begin to transform slowly, not to the process that I would like it to be.
I get it.
Because, I'm here tonight, which I deal with social anxiety. Well, okay, I have dealt with social anxiety to the extreme that I literally had not been able to come out of my own bedroom for years, let alone the house.
Okay, and you're right here. All of that's going to change right now. Just allow this part of your heart to be served. It's a part of you. It is not you. You are not broken. I get that you really feel and have accepted this idea of brokenness, and your identity and self has been associated with that. But the problem is, it's a part. If you had a kidney stone, would you say, I'm a stone?
No.
Would you identify your beingness and who you are, your identity and life around a kidney stone?
No.
No. It's absolutely ridiculous, right? So why would you do that to your brainstem? Why would you allow your cerebellum to decide who you are?
Because I've made myself God, and I've made the lies God in placement of the actual one true God. I've served
Head,
those and worshiped those.
Head. Head. Go to your heart. What does your heart need to know? What's the opposite of broken? Simple. It's really a simple process. Your heart is really, it thinks on a 2-year-old level. Yes, no, black, white, up, down. What's the opposite of broken?
Complete.
How does that feel? Just feel, where did you feel that when you said it?
In my heart.
Yes. And now just stay with that feeling. Does that feel better than broken?
Absolutely.
Yes. And it only feels good because that's who you are. It only feels good because that's part of your inner workings. It only feels bad because it's part of your inner workings. Are you following?
Yes.
I want you to tell me a time in your life when you knew, when you were fully persuaded that you have everything it takes. You are fully equipped. Nothing is broken, nothing lacking. Your gifts were in full expression and production. When was that time?
In January 2013,
See, she knew it. What happened?
I started Bible college with Pastor Kira, and she talked about Dr. Chuck Messler and learning about the Hebrew ancient ways, and God literally transformed my mind. I had trouble reading, and he helped me read. He helped me retain. And again, I was having a lot of anxiety. He helped me go to class. And ever since then, I've really been able to study the Word of God when I thought before I was too stupid to ever understand the Word of God. And it literally became alive and breathing and healing and transforming for me.
So stay with that, okay? Stay with that experience, because you have evidence of what it looks like and what is produced when you sense wholeness, when you sense completeness. And is that important to share with others?
Absolutely. Because I want others to
And so now you have a choice right now.
Right.
You have a choice. You can stay with this sense of brokenness, and that's really, really familiar because it's been there a very long time, yes? And it's very strong, very rooted. And know that your flesh thinks that this is necessary for your survival. If for some reason you don't think you're broken anymore, you could die.
Right.
Are you following?
Yeah, because
That's why it's so hard to change a persuasion once it's made. And how do you do it? What's that opposite energy? What's the truth, not the lie? And so completeness, wholeness. The more you feed that to your heart, the more you help this part of you. Again, is it possible that your heart was broken and that your subconscious? Yes. Just like you can have a kidney stone, but you're not your heart. You're not your head. You're not your brain. You're that superconscious thing. You're that spirit. And is that spirit whole and complete?
Yes.
Lacking nothing and missing? Okay. So now you have an opportunity to feed that energy into your heart, and I promise you, it'll love it.
Amen.
Give her a round of applause. All right. I think based on time, we're probably going to wrap things up a little bit. Or we could do, what do you want to do? It's quarter till. Yeah. Yeah, so what you've just experienced is this process that we're going to be working with, and we're going to start tomorrow morning really looking at and distinguishing between head set, heart set, mindset, heart set, what you are persuaded by and what you may have positioned. And how you serve yourself is again, this shift from this is stressful or I don't understand what's going on to I know exactly what's going on right now, right? There's a persuasion at the level of a deeper level of consciousness that acts by safety and security. And the only reason it's difficult to create these changes is because that's its operating system. And it's almost like saying, I'm going to stop my heart from beating. Could you do that consciously? No. Well, to simply say, I want to change what I'm persuaded in, that ain't going to happen either. You have to have an experience. You have to connect with these memories and emotions. It's a package deal, right? And if you're open to it, those will be revealed. And so we're going to be working on that tomorrow morning, and we're going to continue with these other specific principles of prosperity. So with that in mind, if there aren't, if we're all registered, I think mostly everybody has. If you haven't, we'll still give you an opportunity, to fill out the registration forms and ask any other questions. We certainly love to have you. And if you've heard enough that you think others might benefit from this, bring them with you, right?
Especially husbands and wives,
Yeah.
I wish how many people sit there, I wish my husband was here. Go ahead and bring him. It's usually you got to listen, though. The big thing is, and what we're doing here, is we've gone through this process already. You're not alone, and we go through it every day. The idea is let us help you get through these hurdles so you're not doing it by yourself. Because I believe that the body of Christ should be prosperous. I believe the body of Christ should see the wealth so that we can make a difference in this world right now that's so dark. And we need to be the ecclesia, the called out ones, and we need to have the wealth for the things he's called us to do. But in that, and unfortunately, there is some growth that has to happen. There's some dying to self that has to happen. And this comfort thing ain't going to play anymore. And so all we're asking is that you take some of the lessons that we've learned in life, that we've seen work in our lives, and now we can apply them in your lives. And we know that God's no respecter of persons. So if you apply them like we applied them, you're going to get the same results we get.
That's right.
So that's the key here. Any questions? You're closing your mouth, Rosa. Okay. Anybody? Anything? Did you enjoy what you got tonight? How about Dr. Matt? Give it up there.
Yeah.
Thank you. More to come.
I hope you come back tomorrow. Please sign up if you haven't. There's a lot more to do here, and we're going to get into some deep stuff. If you think this has been a little deep, this is not deep. We've got to get into it so that we can pull out the gold that's in you and in each and every one of us, okay? So thank you very much.
Let's give these guys a hand.